Thank you for joining me. This is The Point, and I am Miriam Ogutu. My guest today is an aspiring member of County Assembly from Kyome Thaana Ward in Mwingi West constituency, Kitui County, Mr. Alphonce Mukwayu, Musyimi.
That's true.
Welcome to the show.
My pleasure.
Mm-hmm. So you want to vie for as an MCA in Kyome Thaana Ward.
Yes, Kyome Thaana Ward in Kitui County.
What is your main motivation?
Oh, well, thank you very much for the KTS TV station.
It's a pleasure. It's a pleasure.
First, before I make any statement, please allow me to take a minute to send my condolences to the nation of Kenya for having lost three senior leaders in the few days ago. That is Gigi Kariuki, who was the senator for Laikipia. General Gaiseri, who was the CS for the security in this country, was been my senior commander before, and also for Nicholas Biwott. I think this nation has passed through a tough time over the few minutes and few days of the week.
Sure.
And equally also have lost some lives in Lamu because of the insecurity in this country. I share the burden of this nation with the head of state, who is also campaigning and also facing such challenges of leading the nation. Well, I come back to the motivation. Let me introduce myself first, that I'm Alphonce Mukwayu Musyimi. I come from Kyome Thaana Ward in Kitui County in the Eastern region, or what we call the Lower East. Well, I was born in Kitui, I've grown up in Kitui, I went to school in Kitui. I have seen much of the developments in Kitui, including the issue of the environment, the issue of the education, the issue of the general economy of the county. So when the devolved system was introduced in Kenya, I had before an experience of traveling outside the country of Kenya, worked in many parts of Africa. I worked in West Africa, I worked in North Africa, and in Kenya here, I've also been to the United States and to Europe. I've also been to North Africa, and I have seen other countries which had faced almost challenges similar to Kitui and how they solved these challenges. And therefore, I felt once this devolved system was introduced in Kitui, I could be part and parcel of the people who brought in the change in Kitui, the real change. So I felt I could give the best service to humanity as a member of County Assembly so that I can help the poor Kitui. Kitui is, defined as a poor county. Yet, Kitui is one of the richest counties in Kenya. But what is lacking in Kitui is the proper mobilization of the resources. The Kitui has plenty of resources. And once the devolved system was established, it's that devolved system, that devolved government, which would have facilitated the mobilization of the resources so that Kitui would change from a poor county to the rich county.
Okay.
Yeah.
So in other words, the MCA right now, or the leadership in Kitui County as a general, has not been keen in taking advantage of the devolution and making sure that Mwananchi's life is improved.
Thank you. When I began my attempt to become part of that system was when it was established. I did not succeed in 2013. But now I'm still making an attempt to go there and still try to assist the government or try to assist the government in directing the efforts towards eradicating the challenges. We may not eradicate it fully, but if the resources were properly utilized, resources mobilized, good environment for investment was created, wastage reduced or just eliminated, I think Kitui can go far. So you asked me, currently the people of Kitui are complaining against the current system or the current regime, if I might call it. But I think in as much as Kituians are so much blaming on the governor, I think the governor's hands were tied. If you take people to that county who may not assist the governor in making the right decisions.
So by saying if you take the people, these are the MCAs?
The MCAs,
okay.
Yeah, because the governor or any government works through the three arms. That is the executive. When the executive draws a plan, it has to be, operationalized through an act.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
And that act of parliament, which is actually the legislature, is has to go through that system. When the governor works or draws a system, a policy, or a plan, it has to be taken to the assembly. It's the MCS who can actually have the county move forward or drag.
Yeah, the implementation.
So that is why I have been trying to become a member of county assembly for Kitui.
Okay. So, of course, sometimes there have been cases where MCAs have been sabotaging the governor, as you have alluded, because sometimes they have other interests. And
Yes.
so they threaten the governors with impeachment should their interests not met. And you're coming in as an MCA. What new perspective of leadership are you bringing in for Kitui County?
Thank you very much. That question has been witnessed in the past.
Mm-hmm. We've seen it in several counties.
In several counties,
Yeah.
actually. And Embu, I think, was the first
It was a
that
very
came
good
in
example,
the limelight.
yeah.
I'm just giving an example. And then there was Makueni, even,
Yeah.
where we had MCS were drawing guns to fight among themselves and fight the governor. I think the main issue is who will actually selected to go to serve in these counties. Let me say I am not very happy with the law that is put in place on selecting the members to these assemblies. You know, the law is so open that you are likely to take somebody into this assembly, people who may not have a very good background, people who may not have other motivation other than to earn money. And if the governor appears to block their way, then the governor becomes an enemy.
So how can people know that this person is the right person for us to put there? Because, you know, when you present yourself, people sometimes, especially if you say you've not had a record where they can go and look back, maybe you've not served before. So how can people really know which person to choose to put up there to lead them?
Well, thank you. Let me take a cue or take an example of how the National Assembly of Kenya has grown up. If you look at from the establishment of our state, 1963 after independence, the people who have sort of found their way into the National Assembly, as from the very early stage where people who had gone to other occupations, they have gone to government, they had some knowledge of what happens in the government, and therefore, if they went there, they had respect for the law. They also had some foundation. When actually you went to the National Assembly at the first time, many people would find themselves as members of county assembly when they had no other experience elsewhere. Therefore, they would just use their own way of behavior, their own senses of behaving, not knowing that here I'm a honorable member, and if I had something to do, I need discipline. Yeah. So what I'm saying is, if you have really a weak law of how you select your leaders, you're likely to end up with a bad seed, and therefore you end up with assumptions that these people will behave. What I'm trying to employ is that the democratic system, which allows citizens to choose, assumes that all Kenyans will be in a position to judge, and they will use all the systems to judge. But now, when it comes now into our Kenyan system of elections, what counts most is money. So whoever has money can find way. So I think we still need to look at, I think the anticipation of the Constitution that setting up of some levels of education was necessary. I think that would, to my belief, would have helped much in getting some very right people. Yeah.
Okay, fair enough. So at the beginning of the show, you mentioned that the late Nkaiseri General was your boss. So I'm assuming you were in the Kenya Army?
Yeah, I served in the Kenyan military for 24 years.
For 24 years?
Yeah,
oh, wow.
So I'm a retired
Thank you for your service.
Yeah.
We appreciate it.
And I had a senior position, and those are my senior commanders, and I respect them. In the Army, we grow with discipline.
Yeah.
And we are so much attached to each other.
Yeah.
And I think he gave a distinguished service to this country.
He did.
So nobody would just forget about, not even that he was my boss that time, but I also, the distinguished service he gave to this nation did not escape my mind.
Highly appreciated, and he will be highly missed.
Yeah.
And his service was really, really, really needed. And so it's such a loss to the country.
Right.
And we are mourning together with the family. So now, your experience being in the armed forces what are some of the lessons you carried that you think will help you when should you be elected as a leader of Kyome Thaana Ward Apart from discipline, because I know the armed forces with
Well,
discipline, that is...
Yeah, thank you very much.
Yeah.
As you mentioned, I think one of them is the discipline as you began. The other one was hard work. The other one was respect for each other, for the officers and where they are. You need to respect them very much. And the other one is courage. When you see wrong is done, you say, no, this is wrong. Your Excellency Governor, this is wrong. It's against the wish of the people of Kitui. It's against the wish of the people of Kenya. Please, can you stop? And then there are established systems, channels of how you say no. Go to the assembly, bring a motion, or just go through the other committees and correct or wrong. Okay. Equally educate the Kenyans on their rights. What the government needs to do to them or for them, and what are their role in ensuring the government serves them well. Okay. I've gone out there campaigning, and people are telling me, Bwana MCA, tutakupigia kura, lakini tutakupea miaka 5. Ukikosa kufanya kazi miaka 5, tutakutoa. Then I wonder, you mean our people are ready to have me there and do wrong for them for 5 years? And yet there is a recalling clause. Yeah. So the governor should also be told there's a recalling clause. Yeah. An MCA like me, there's a recalling clause. An MP, there's a recalling clause. So since I also have my members of my people in my ward, I first teach them, you have a clause that can recall me if I don't perform, because I'm entering a contract with you. Yeah. Okay.
So this is not your first time running for a political seat. You tried in 2013.
Yes.
What happened?
Yeah, in 2013 I tried, and I tried under the independent candidate. Our people did not understand partyless candidate, what it meant. So they were saying, now you are just alone. So I was the most popular, but because of party issue, most people found me not suitable. They were just the party euphoria.
But you're still independent now?
Yes.
Although now people are understanding more about the independent candidates.
After what happened during the primaries, and
the shambolic
everybody
nominations.
knows, you are calling it shambolic. I've heard people call that.
Well, it was very shambolic.
It was shambolic.
From all divides.
Yeah, from all divides. And I also tried that under the party Wiper. And in Kitui, Wiper was the major party. Party, it's that, as we can call it. Yeah. But then after the shambolic primaries, everybody said, no, this is not what we expected. And I'm happy, even the chairman of Wiper, Honorable David Musila, also contesting for the governorship in Kitui, also decamped from the party, and he went to join the independent. And then we are together there running for the same, so that we give the people the right to choose, rather than be told this is the best candidate through the shambolic system of the party system. Yes. Okay.
So basically you don't believe in the parties?
No, basically, personally, I don't believe in the Kenyan parties, not all the other parties. Because if you study what are political parties, specifically, to me, the Kenyan political parties are lacking in that definition. Because you study...
By definition, you mean ideals?
Ideals, the way they are organized, actually. The organization, the ideals are okay, but the way they are organized, such that it's like one person drives the party, and he can give a ticket to whoever he or she likes.
With impunity.
Meaning the people's right, which is the democratic, have been infringed.
Okay.
I can give an example. I don't want to single out a party, but you will go to some in the countryside, and you find some candidates who never went through the nomination system.
Straight nominations.
And they're telling you, I am the nominee for, I am the member of this party now standing. Who gave you the ticket? How did the people select you? So that means that the party itself is not democratic. And yet we want to establish democracy in Kenya. Democracy, when citizens are not given opportunity to select, period, you're not democratic. You're just dictatorial. And you have heard people, even you have seen people fight during the party primaries, and somebody can fail to be, can win, and you are told, oh, look, you joined the party the other day, so we are giving so-and-so, he has been in the party a long time.
Okay.
So I have an issue with that. If in Kenya we could rectify that, actually we go beyond what Kenya expects. We would just go so much into real democracy. And the parties, yeah.
Fair enough. So now you want to come and serve the people of Kyome in the Thaana ward. What do you think is wrong with the current leadership there, and how do you want to come in and fix it?
Right. The people of Kyome Thaana ward really need a leader or a servant who can just make sure that the resources which are allocated to the ward are properly distributed. How do I distribute the resources? First of all, I will work with wananchi through the system of what we call the community participation, so that we'll identify the projects that need to be done in each and every village, each and every locality. Therefore, before we carry out a project, we have to identify and agree with the people that this is the project. That is my main way of working. The main problems in Kyome Thaana ward today are three. One is water. There is very poor distribution of water, or some areas actually lack water. The upper part of Kyome Thaana, I mean the eastern part, that is...
But distribution, because I'm thinking these are rural areas, so a lot of times it's boreholes.
Yes.
Yes. Do you have tapped water there?
Yeah, we have tapped water. Okay. That's why I'm using the word distribution.
Oh, okay.
Because we have two pipelines in Kitui. One is from Masinga direct to Kitui town and then beyond. That one, it just touches a bit of very near a ward next to Kyome Thaana ward. And my main objective or my main duty here is to ensure that that water which supplies other wards beyond Kyome Thaana ward is tapped, so that is directed also to Kyome Thaana ward, so that the people of Kyome Thaana also can enjoy the same fresh water supplies.
As everybody else.
There's also another one which is from Kiambere to Mwingi town, which is also very near. So we can also tap, and my objective is to tap water from there and bring it to Kyome Thaana ward. There are also some boreholes, plenty of boreholes, and most of these boreholes are just concentrated in a particular region in the western part. The other northern and the eastern part of the ward have very few boreholes and a few dams, which just dry a few months after rainfall, because Kitui, as you know, does not have much rain. So how do we have these people in this area suffering or going long distances without water? Yet there's some water. That county government has a responsibility of ensuring these people, Kyome Thaana ward, are supplied equal as the other wards. That will be my main objective, and I will have the county government just focus their interest on Kyome Thaana ward and also mobilize the people so that we can participate. The other issue is the infrastructure, the roads. The roads there are very poorly done, and my youth or the youth there are crying, no jobs if these roads are properly done. We can use a lot of matatus, the pro boxes, and even the borders flying across. Yeah, even the supply of goods is very slow there. People even they do cars, and you find that the goods which penetrate into those markets is very slow because there is no infrastructure specific at the roads. So we need to open these roads, and that will be my major objective, so that most of these markets now can have goods supplied to them, and they also can reach market. So I'm trying to open to address the infrastructure so that we can address the economy of the ward. Okay? The other issue also the institutions, education and health, they are poorly done. The current MCR, she has not paid attention to those. Maybe I don't believe she is not having that capacity, because she claims that she's a doctor or she's a nurse. But then you find the healthy facilities there dormant. People are not accessing health facilities. So we need to have the people enjoy.
Do people access and maybe there are no services?
There are no services. I'm saying you cannot have the health service unless now you have the personnel, you have the medicine, you have the necessary equipment. Like, how can you just travel from the ward?
So that is lacking. So lacking. Maybe that is something that because now the health matters.
The sector is actually now under the county government.
Yeah.
So it is the MCR who should make sure that we have well-equipped dispensaries and health centers. So you go to a health center and you find one nurse, and yet the establishment for the personnel in a health center is more than 12. Surely, why then have one individual? Well, what happens if she goes sick? What happens if she becomes pregnant?
They close down.
Yeah.
And the wananchi
The wananchi now will be passing there overnight.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, I've used a lot. I've been called up many times overnight. Please come and take our patient to 30 kilometers in Mwingi, 30 kilometers to Modale. These areas, and the patient loses life instead of accessing a healthy facility which is just next door.
Yeah. So even services like free maternity and things like, they cannot enjoy that.
They don't enjoy it.
Because the facilities are not there.
The facility, the infrastructure is there, but it's not functioning fully. Okay. It's lacking the necessary facility.
So you mentioned the education in the same breath. So what is wrong with the education system in the ward?
Well, I understand, and that is only the basic education, which is up to what you call the pre-unit, or whatever that actually the county government...
The ECD?
The ECD. That is the county government is responsible for. But that does not stop you from going beyond. The government of the county government, the constitution defines this government as 2 district governments that work in coordination and cooperation. Meaning, you can also play a role, even when you're in the county government, in trying to assist, improve the other education. Why am I saying this? My education actually defines myself as the best candidate for this. I have gone through the systems of education, secondary school, primary school, up to university level. My degree in Bachelor of Arts in the University of Nairobi, and I'm now studying for my master's there. While I was in the military also, I did a lot of studies in many areas up to becoming a pilot, so I know what education means.
So if you went to Kenya Airways today, they'll hire you?
Yes.
Without even a second thought?
Yeah.
So why did you not think about that and decide?
Because the community
instead to come getting stressed up in politics?
Yeah, I flew in the military for 18 years. And 18 years is not a short time.
So this is a long time. I'm telling you, if you went to Kenya Airways right now...
Money is not what defines a human being.
Yeah.
Your service to humanity is more satisfying than when somebody becomes a priest and he has an engineering degree. He just compromises the engineering degree. The mandate comes and the prestige that comes with engineering so as to go and serve humanity. Yeah. So I serve the nation as a soldier.
And that is a calling.
That's a calling, yeah. And that's why I'm also going for the law.
You're in touch with the people.
I'm in touch with the people. I want the people to get the facility. I want the people to enjoy the fruits of devolution. And I wish my Kyome people understand this and they give me their total votes. In 5 years' time, they'll say, wow, we were right.
Okay. So back to the education. Yes. But I'm happy to know you're a pilot.
Yeah.
Do you have enough schools? What do the facilities look like, and enough staff? I mean, what's going on? In the
Kyome Thaana ward? Well, we have enough schools, secondary schools, and enough primary schools. Actually, but the question is here, what is the quality of personnel? How are they motivated? How are they equipped? How are they motivated? And in most schools there, you find, even in primary school, there are so many teachers who are, and they call them under PTR. And therefore, once the government is to come in and ask itself, how can we do, even if we are in the county government, so that we assist our people? Because the money that is used at the county government is still from the term consolidated fund. So what prevents the county government having a bill that assists even the schools employ the qualified teachers so that they can teach in these schools? Nothing. So what I'm trying to say is we'll work in coordination with the national government, under the county government, and that is why it will be my push. What is the role of the county government in improving the education in not only Kyome Thaana ward, but in Kitui? Because we have to do that through a bill of the county assembly. That is what I'm trying to say. If you look at the ECD teachers, most of the ECD teachers in Kitui are complaining that they are not permanently employed. They are not getting their salaries through their bank. They are saying the salary is being sent to them through M-Pesa. If that is true, then something is wrong. Yeah. Something is at amiss.
How much is that salary for it to be sent through M-Pesa? Must be very little.
It shouldn't be very little. I don't know. It shouldn't be very little. So I think there should be a proper employment for them, because an unmotivated employee is an earning deliverer. Yeah, true. So from the ECD up to the primary teachers, we need to look at how best. Now, let me come. We have several schools. I don't want to mention names, where you have. I have 2 schools. One school has 12 parents Just imagine a school with 12 parents. How do you expect...
12 what?
12 parents, I mean, it's like the children who are in the pupils who are in that school come from only 12 homesteads.
Okay.
These are the parents who are expected actually to develop that school.
It's difficult.
You understand. So it means the child right of that child is abused from the onset. Because this child will not get the same facilities as a child in Nairobi or elsewhere.
So you don't expect, coming from a disadvantaged background.
You don't expect,
and they have to compete on the same level when it comes to the national examination.
Yes, that is my concern. We have to take it as a county government responsibility, even if this is not our responsibility as per the law. How can we highlight this? How can we bring on board the national government, and how can we invest in this so that these children, they can just... I have got about 4 schools. 4 schools in Kyome Thaana ward, and they need that address. It's a serious issue.
Okay, so back in my village, I know a school where there are over 700 pupils, and they have only 5 trained government teachers, and the rest are PTA. They've been employed by the PTA. So when you look at something like that, only 5 trained teachers in a school that has more than 700 pupils. Do you have similar situations from your ward?
Yeah, it's a common phenomena in Kenya, especially in the rural areas. And I will tell you what happened when the CDF Kire was introduced. Kenyans rushed into establishing schools, establishing dispensaries, establish this and this institution. It was a competition among, when I go to campaign, I promise people development. And each and every one of them will want to get a share of that. Yeah. Even some of the secondary schools and primary schools are established not because they are necessary, but people of that village, they also want to get a share.
Benefit,
So I think that's what I'm talking about. We need to have a clear look into, by the county, how best can we have an equal distribution of resources? How can we have schools properly staffed? What our role? You can write to the government and say, in our budget, we want to take this, because counties are free to spend their monies the way you want. All you need is just have a budget approved by the county assembly, and it shouldn't be in line with the law that is established. And I don't think, because let me take, for example, something they have done in Kitui, and I congratulate the government that is there today. We have the bursary system. The Kitui government looked at how best can we also come in and also augment or supplement what the national government is doing. And they established a fund, they're calling it the Pro-Poor, meaning it's a bursary, but since we cannot define it as a bursary, because that is what the national government defines its own investment in education, we can also look at it, how best, why don't we also have a Pro-Poor investment on teachers? Because I do believe if you are trained and you are employed in a primary school by the parent, then why can't you also give you another 10,000 as a Pro-Poor? And then we remove that burden from the parents. Then you'll be more motivated than have you go to the parents and you are going through a teacher training college, and then we are giving you 5,000. To me, I think we're even abusing your rights. So that's what I'm talking about. I will want to play a major role in the education system, using my own educational background.
Okay. So, of course, when the new constitution came into play, and I don't know why we're still calling it new, because I think it's been here now for a while. Now, when the Kenyan constitution that we have right now came into place after it was voted in, Kenyans are very optimistic in matters development, because the new devolution will solve a lot of these problems that like infrastructure, unemployment, and things like that, and somehow will help when it comes to the rural-urban migration, because now the people could find jobs wherever they were. They didn't have to come to the cities, but a couple of years down the line, not much can be said about it. So I was talking to a person here earlier, and I asked, do you think devolution has served Kenyans well? And he said, maybe still the teething problems. I'm thinking, okay, so how long have you been in? Is the teething problems is still an excuse we still should be used as to why Kenyans are not getting the services that they're supposed to get?
Well, thank you. devolution has served Kenyans well,
Okay.
in my view and in my analysis. It just served Kenyans very well. First of all, if I may understand what devolution was first of all to have almost an equitable distribution of resources. And people felt, or people now feel, that resources are now coming to the local, to the quality, instead of being centralized. Okay. Now, when it's taken to the counties, some counties have utilized these resources very well, and citizens have been given an opportunity to plan within their own needs, rather than have a centralized planning. But in counties where the governments and the county assemblies have gone to personal interest, because what has happened in most areas is that people looked at, money is here, how can we enrich ourselves?
A time to grab and eat.
To grab.
Sure.
We have this seating, we have this allowance, we have this. I've seen in the counties, like let's say for example, my county in Kitui, we have very nice hotels in Kitui. And our county assembly members are ever in Mombasa. How? Why do you believe
the
that
fascination with a different place?
Yeah, anytime you go and spend money outside, you are impoverishing your people and enriching other people. So if you utilize much of this within the locality, you are creating employment. You are bringing benefits to your people. So where that has not happened.
And you're supporting the local economy.
You are supporting the local economy. Well, we are not talking about,
not in a bad way.
Yeah,
but
that's my belief.
Yeah.
That if you are going for a conference, let's go for it in our country, in our count there. They are individuals in Kitui. Then you motivate them to build hotels.
Because if you keep going to Mombasa, these small hotels will close down.
Yeah, they will close down, and even the locals will also migrate to go and invest in Mombasa and not here. And you started telling the youth, I'm going to create employment. Yeah. We need the youth to be serving that hotel. We need somebody to be driving these people with taxis. So
we have to encourage the small investors.
Yeah.
Okay. So as we conclude, what is your last word for the people of Kyome Thaana Ward?
Kyome Thaana Ward.
Why should they elect you?
Okay. I want to appeal to Kyome Thaana people or citizens or electorate and the entire Kitui to find that Alphonce Mukwayu Musyimi is the right candidate. I will protect your interest in the county government as well as in the national government. I will ensure that the facilities or the resources that should come to Kyome Thaana Ward are properly utilized in cooperation with the citizens themselves, the committees, the leaders who are established. I will also work in cooperation with the national government officials. I will also work in cooperation with the governor who is elected, the senator who is elected, the MP who is elected, the other fellow MCs, and the other leaders. I will want to first of all address the issue of water shortage, the issue of roads, the infrastructure. I've already been doing that, and those who know me, they know how much I've put an effort to ensure that our people get water, they get electricity, they get good health, they get good roads, and therefore I'll continue furthering that effort. Those who are competing against me, you can analyze our CV. I have the best CV. I have the best experience, international. I'll also link our county with the international world, the Americas, the rest of Africa, the rest of the country, Kenya, so that we can open our county to outside investors. Right now, we have no industry, we have no factory.
Oh, a lot of them are closing business and they're going back.
Yeah. So we'll ensure that. For the youth, our youth actually need a talent, somebody who can nurture, somebody who can support their talent development. Music, sports, and all that. That has been my career. I'll support you people properly. Invest in Musyimi, invest in the best bank. You never regret. Thank you very much.
Okay.
And to those governor aspirants, all of them, the three of them, the General Honorable Musila, Dr. Malombe, and the Honorable Kaduki Ngilu, any of you who is elected, you'll find an asset working with me as your MCR. Okay. Thank you. Okay.
Loud and clear, Mr. Alphonce Mukwayu Musyimi.
My pleasure.
It was wonderful to have you on the show, and all the best. And hopefully, it will be a celebration on the 9th of August.
9th of August.
Should Kyome Thaana Ward constituents elect you, if they believe in your ideals and what you're talking about.
Yes.
All right, thank you. This has been The Point. I am Miriam Ogutu. See you next time.